Welcome back to Hand Sewing with the HTA. In this episode we're going to show you how to pad stitch like the facing in either the waistcoat or the coat. So this differs slightly than the pad stitch we did in the previous video where we were attaching the layer on top to the layer on the bottom. In this instance we actually have three layers. We've got the cloth on the top, then we've got the canvas on the cloth on the bottom. This is what you typically find on the facing of both the waistcoat and the coat, that you want to pad down the facing on top, but onto the canvas, but you don't want to pick up the front of the garment. So to do this, we would typically use a machine thread. I'm going to use got this gold color here, or this orange color. I'm going to use so. You want to take off the thread about the length of your arm and wrap it around your finger, and then pull it, stretch it like that, and then pluck it like a guitar string. What that does is it stops the thread from snarling as you start to use it. You're not going to end up with knots and not in your threads. For this, I'm using a 6 sharp. Got the needle there. And then you could use knots here if you like. Now generally I'll try to orientate the cloth around like so. You could do it at an angle to yourself either. You could do it like this either. But the purpose of demonstration, my arms doesn't get in the way. I'm going to do it like that. So here what we're doing is I'm putting the needle in, and putting it all the way through so I can feel the needle underneath. And then I'm drawing it out, and I can hear it drop the cloth. I hear that little click, just drop the cloth, and then I'm picking up about a 1/4 inch of it, and then again, and I get a couple of stitches here to start off with, drop it again. Now and I come down about a 1/2 inch apart or so, needle in again, pick up the cloth and the canvas, but drop the forepart again in. So I've got my finger behind, the needle's going in, it's making contact with my finger, and I'm drawing the needle back slightly till I feel it's dropped the cloth underneath. You can feel it separating, the cloth like flicks back against the tip of your finger. You know then you haven't gone so deep as you haven't picked it up. And again. So it's all about touch and feel here. You can see even my thumb is on the front here. It's helping guiding the needle. So wherever my thumb goes, that's where the goes, the needle's lined up pretty much at the center of my thumb there like that. And if I can feel it, so the needle's just going, it's touching the top of my forefinger, and then I'm drawing it back until I can feel the cloth drop, hit the top of my finger, and then I know I've dropped the cloth and I've picked up the canvas only. These stitches should be fairly uniform. Again, I'm not pulling the stitches tight, I'm just drawing it out and then just putting a little bit of tension into it. And then as you get better at it, you get faster at it. All the time just using the rod out. Use that little finger just to put the tension into it. And if you like, again, you can stop every few stitches, give it a back stitch, and then continue on. Now the difficulty with this stitch is if you ever break it or cut it by accident, because it's a hand stitch, you need to go about 2 inches above and below, fill in that area again with stitches. So like say we stop it here, that, and let's say when we were working on the garment, then we accidentally cut one of our stitches there like that. And what you do is you come up to about 2 inches above it, needle in, thread's getting short there, I'll put a new piece on it. Needle in, you can put knots in this if you like. Doesn't make a huge difference. All the way through there, there we go. So I'd come about 2 inches above it or so, and then I'd stitch top of the stitches. Whenever the stitch broke, right here. And I just tie it off, and I'll make sure that the stitch doesn't come undone any further than that. Now, check to make sure that I've done this right. Cut, just for the sake of this demonstration, I'll cut this thread, pull it out, and then it should fold over so it's caught onto the canvas only, and it has to come through onto the cloth. Obviously you can't do that when you're making a garment, but what you can do is you can run your finger up and down here like that, and you can see that it's not caught. If there's a stitch caught, I'll demonstrate a stitch being caught here. So let's come down here a bit and catch a few stitches. You can feel like you've dropped it, but you haven't. I've caught a few stitches there. Turn it over, and you mightn't necessarily be able to see the stitches, but if you run your finger, see where it stops. No, it stops right where it hits the stitch. You guarantee, like you might notice there, but when you get all the basting stitches and everything out and you go to press it, you'll always see this little indentation where you've caught the stitches. Now I can feel it there. So it's not, pull it this way, you can see that it's caught. So that's what you do, you put your little finger up and down it, and it shouldn't catch any. If it catches there, you feel where it's caught, you know you've stitched through. There we go, that's the padding stitch. Thank you for watching.